Welcome to the YLF conference, and I'm Mike D, and I am broadcasting from the studio that we are doing the morning show. And I was like, so we were trying to figure this out. There's a screen right above me, and Estefania S. Garcia, you gotta have the S in there, is gonna be asking me some questions, and we're gonna talk and we're gonna work through this. I know things have been a little different the last couple of years due to COVID. So we get to do a lot of these videos and conferences and everything. Estefania, are you with me?
Yes, I'm right here, Mikey.
Nice. Well, I wish I could be there in person with everybody to you know to hug and shake hands and take pictures on it. But next one, hopefully, without all the scheduling conflicts and everything, that we can do that. As far as planning has gone, has this been the most unique year for you, Estefania, to plan the YLF? How's everything going?
Well, it's been a little bit stressful because of all the COVID increases, and some people are still a little afraid to go out in public. And I understand because of all the increases going on.
No, and I understand it. I was like, because about a year ago, like we all got it in my house, and it wasn't fun. But thank God we're all safe and we're good now. So we're gonna do this. So Estefania, we are gonna try out your interview skills, and I know I'm putting you on the spot because props to Estefania. Everybody give her a round of applause because I told her a couple hours ago, like, hey, like I'm not gonna be able to pop in. I have all these conflicts in my schedule, but we're gonna do a video, and you're gonna get to do some interviewing. And she's like, okay. She was like ready to go for it. So one more time, big round of applause. Pause for the applause. Estefania, tell me, what did you have any questions? How did you want to start off?
Mm, well, I wanted to see if you can talk to us a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, well, I'll tell you about myself. I'm Mike D. I grew up in El Paso. I started working in radio as early as I possibly could. So me growing up, I loved music. I wanted to be in a band, but turns out, guess what, folks? I can't sing. I can't play an instrument. There's no way you could be in a band if you can't sing, if you can't play an instrument. So I started DJing at the age of 13. So yeah, look around the room. Like, if you guys probably all older than 13, that's the age that I was going to ballrooms and to nightclubs and stuff like that, and started DJing. And I loved it, and I wanted to go into radio right after that. So right out of high school, I started working in radio, and I realized that I needed to go to college if I wanted a better spot on the radio. And also the other thing is, like, radio's like a lot of other things, it changes a lot. So I wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to, just in case like radio went away, that I was going to have a backup plan. It's just like planning this YLF, Estefania. You had to have backup plans. Well, if this person can come, or if the COVID numbers go up, or like so. Just like anything else in life, like you have to have a backup plan. So you figure out what you want to do, but also have a backup plan just in case, right? So I went to school, and I really enjoyed it. I went to UT Austin, and so now being a DJ on Power 102 is part of what I do. The other part is I have Mike D's Big Adventure that we were able to start, and this is this is about 13 years now. And so if you've been on the Big Adventure, let me hear you clap. I didn't hear you, Stefania, because I know you've been on the Big Adventure, Stefania. Nice. So yeah, I was like, and so for those who haven't been on the Big Adventure, it really is a trip of empowerment and finding out how independent you can be and some of the things. So it's a good way to test yourself, and that's what the idea is behind the Big Adventure, inspire, empower you to be as independent as you want to be. Because we, eventually we'd all, like to live our best life at whatever that is to you. Everybody has different goals. Um, so the big adventure is part of me. Being on the radio is a part of me. And then I started my own company. So I thought, it was like, well, if radio's great, but if, sometimes if radio goes away or something, I want to have a backup plan. So I own an event company. So if you ever go to a quinceañera or a wedding or a music festival, whatever, our company provides sound systems, the photo booths that everybody gets in line with, all the silly hats and everything. We own photo booths. We own old school arcade games, so we could turn rooms into entire 80s arcades. We could turn rooms into casinos for casino nights. So, and it's based on just fun. If it's not fun, we don't rent it. You can't come to me and say, I need to rent some tables and chairs. We don't do tables and chairs. We only rent fun. And that's kind of what a lot of the things I do are based on. If it's not fun, figure out a way to make it fun if it's something you have to do.
Exactly.
And if it's something that you don't have to do, and then is it worth doing if it's not fun? Not to me. So whatever we have to do, we make it fun. And that way it doesn't feel like work. So that's part of me. And then I'm a dad. I got 2 daughters. Girl power. I'm all about girl power. I got a wife, and she's the one that was focusing the phone and everything a moment ago. So if I'm out of focus, I'm putting it on my camera woman. But girl power, all about it. And then in between that, I mean, we have different projects, hobbies and stuff to let loose and to exhale and to relax. Well, so that's about me, Estefania. What am I missing? What else do you want to know?
What has your greatest strength?
What is my greatest strength?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a great question. What is my greatest strength? I think for me, it's creativity. Because sometimes people talk about these skills that we have that, like if you're a strong person, you could see your muscles. If you're someone that's tall or short, like there's certain things that you could see, but there's other things that that skills that you have that you can't see. And for me, it's creativity. I'm able to have clients come to me at work and they're like, hey, I own a furniture store. How do we market? How do we get people to come here? Give us an idea. So I come up with ideas, creative ideas on how to get people into that business. But then also on top of that, if you come to me and like with our event company, you say, the YLF wants to have a party, but we want to make it just over the top fun. How do we do it? I'll sit down and I was like, okay, these are some of the ideas I have. So making, we talk about these, you could see people's muscles. Your brain is a muscle also. If you learn as much as you can about as many things as you can, you build that muscle up. So I love to research about all different things. And you never know. That's how you find out what things you like and what things that you're like, oh wow, I didn't know I would like that. And so I try to be open-minded when it comes to learning about different things.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part, where people have to learn to experience new stuff and see if they like it or if they don't like it.
That's true, because I'm sure that those people that were like, do we go to the YLF? We've never been. And you're sitting there, you're sitting in the chair right now going, this is good. This is something that we're going to learn from and help expand our mind and even learn about different things that that might be your next job. That might be your next career. That might be something you go to college and take more classes in, because one of the people that you met here at YLF told you about something really cool, whether it's anime, where it's about mechanics, physics, math, whatever it is. The more people you talk to, the more you realize that, wow, I really like this and that. What else would you like to know, Estefania? You're doing really good at this, by the way. One more round of applause for Estefania.
So I asked Mrs. already, right?
Huh? Hit me with your question.
you're cutting off a little bit.
Okay, I was like, no, what was your next question?
What does culture of disability mean to you, Mickey?
You know what? That's a good question. I was like, culture of disability. I was like, I know that there's like, for some people, it's like in the circles that you're in, because you interact with people sometimes with the same disability as yourself. Sometimes you interact with people with disabilities that you weren't even aware that they had. For me, it's not narrowing it down to, I'm going to hang out with someone with a visual impairment, or I'm going to hang out with someone with a hearing impairment. It's more than anything else, it's like just hanging out with everybody and learning like about them and how people do things. And then later on, you might find out that they have some sort of impairment that you had no idea about. But I mean, when I think of like culture of disability, I was like, sure, yeah, there's certain things that I do with certain friends that have a visual impairment, and certain things I'll do with someone that's got a hearing impairment. But I think if we are open to just hanging out with everyone and learning about everyone, just because it's someone new, someone different, then you don't have to narrow it down to people with disabilities, because I think everybody's got something, whether we can see it or not. Everybody has something, but I think if you're open to it, because a lot of the times I was like, we're having to, and someone had to have this talk with me, because sometimes I'll go somewhere and being visually impaired, some people will talk to me and they'll hold me by the arm like I'm gonna run off or something, and I'm like, okay, like you don't gotta, or they'll speak louder, like I can't hear them, or sometimes they'll speak to me in the third person, like if I'm with you, Estefania, instead of asking me the question, they'll look at Estefania and say, hey, ask Mike if he's hungry. And I'm like, I'm right here and I hear you and I speak English. Like, you don't have to ask Estefania if I'm hungry. You can ask me if I'm hungry. So a lot of the times, you end up having to teach people about your disability, and I know it's frustrating. And I was like, and so it's okay to be frustrated with it, because you don't always have to teach people about your disability. You could sometimes just walk away. You could just, roll out of the situation and be like, I'm not gonna deal with this right now. You're allowed to get frustrated. I was like, but if you know the person's like genuinely like ignorant about it, then you can take the time if you want, and this is up to you. It's not our job to educate every single person. I was like, but if I will take the time as much as I can to educate people, like, hey, it's okay to speak to me. I'm like everybody else. I was like, I may not be landing an airplane tomorrow. I may not be driving a race car, but I can have a conversation with you. I can speak to you and you can speak to me. And so you can have those conversations and you can be patient with those people. But you're allowed to get frustrated, and you're allowed to get out of the situation and be like, I don't got time for this right now. We'll do this later. So, so part of the culture of disability for me is like having to teach people, and then figuring out when I'm frustrated and when I get myself out of the situation. So there's so many things to it. Yeah, so that's part of it for me. Estefania, is there? I was like, I know we're getting close to time. Is there something else that you're like, okay, and sky's the limit. There's nothing I will not answer.
I think we're doing good.
You think we're doing good? We're good on time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how's this? We'll do 2 more questions, and then that, I think that'll get us there. Do you have another question for me?
Let me think.
This is good. I'm putting you on the spot.
What would you tell people, like, how do I say this?
It's okay.
Like people that, how would you tell people that think that they can't do anything, or think that they can't stand up for each other, to like stand up for each other, if that makes sense?
Okay, so I guess so. Two questions. So what do you tell people who think they can't do anything? Um, and so that's a good one. That'll be like I'll take that the first part. There's people that I was like I know that like it's life's a struggle whether you have a disability or not. I was like because I didn't. Um, I know that there's like certain situations that they're frustrating for people who can see and people who are able to walk or people who don't have a learning disability. I was like, but in the long run, I'm like, this is on the individual. Like I know that I don't have to run a business and I don't have to have Mike D's Big Adventure and I don't have to work on Power 102. I was like, well, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna sit at home and feel bad? Like, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. I was like, if there's a lot of stuff that we wish we could do, but if you don't do those uncomfortable things, tell people, okay, what do I have to do to be a DJ? What do I have to do to own a business? What do I have to do? I was like, and then once you find those things out and you ask those questions, now you know what you have to do. Are you willing to put in the work? And I was willing to put in the work, and I think, and you guys are willing to put in the work because you're here at the conference. You could be Saturday morning, you could be eating cereal in front of your Netflix, watching whatever you're binge watching. So you've already taken that step. You're asking the questions, and you're putting in the work. So for the people who are like afraid, like, oh, I'm afraid of trying it. You can be afraid of doing it. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can have the courage for you. Nobody can have the ganas for you. You gotta go out and get it. It's almost like if you're on a football team, you're like, okay, I'm on the football team. I want a touchdown, and then the game starts, and you just stand there. I'm sorry, people aren't gonna put the ball in your hand and make you run. You gotta grab the ball and you gotta run, and it's a tough thing because I know it's tough. So that's I think one step. And I think the second part of the question you said, Stefania, is like people that like stand up for themselves or stand up for others. That's also on us, because sure, like I talk about the frustration of having to educate people, and sometimes it's because people are ignorant. They haven't worked with someone that's visually impaired or someone that's in a wheelchair or someone that has a learning disability. Because I was like, you may not know this about me, but I was like, I have a visual impairment, sure, but I'm also dyslexic. And sometimes I was like, I am atrocious at spelling, but I use the tools around me. I use the spell check and I use Siri and I use everything else I can get around me but sometimes if I get something wrong and someone's, hey, like, you're not good at doing this, then I will stand up and I'll be like, okay, give me a moment. I was like, you didn't get everything done on the first try. I was like, let me try again if you're willing to try. So sometimes, yeah, you'll take the heat and it's and everything doesn't have to be a fight. Everything doesn't have to be a confrontation. Because I know people who, I have a friend that she's like very sensitive to when people stare at me. Because people see me walk in with the cane, and we'll go into a restaurant and people are curious, like how I eat or how I move around, and they'll stare, and she'll get in their face and she'll be like, what are you staring at? And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, these people are curious. Sure, it's not polite to stare like that all the time. I was like, but I'm not gonna have a confrontation with everybody about it. So you have to pick where you are in the middle, where you're able to have a comfortable interaction going to a restaurant or going to a movie or whatever. I was like, and yeah, if there's something that bothers you, by all means tell people, but don't go around picking at every single person that casually glances at you, because I know not everybody's staring at me. Sometimes people will glance over like, oh, let me see if I know that person. If I'm offended by everybody that looks my way, then life's gonna be really complicated. You're gonna dread going out. So I think to sum everything up in the long run, this is what I live by. As like, if it's not fun, but it's something that I have to do, you figure out how to make it fun. And that goes to like going out and, like I said, not confronting everybody that comes my way. Sure, if there's something that bothers me and I think it's going to help the next person that's in a wheelchair or with a visual impairment, sure, then I'll pull people aside and be like, hey, next time you have an interaction with someone with a disability, it's better to do it this way, and this is why, rather than trying to start a fight with them about it. So, and everybody has a different opinion, everybody has a different approach, but in the long run, I want to make sure that the interactions I have with as many people as I can are also going to be as positive as possible. So that's what I shoot for. That's what I aim for. Estefania, thank you for being the interviewer on the spot. And I'm hoping that the video is okay. I'm hoping the sound is okay. And I hope that very soon that we can all sit in a room together where nobody's like stressing out, and and we're able to hug and take pictures together and look back and be like, remember a long time ago when we used to have to wear masks and all that? So I hope that'll be something that happens real soon. So I love all of you guys, and thank you for staying positive. Big round of applause for Estefania. Cool. Estefania, I hope that all recorded. I hope my phone didn't die in the middle of that. As I got you on the phone, I'm gonna stop the recording on this other phone and just double check it while I got you here. Whoa. Okay. That was the sound of the tripod falling.
I feel like we did awesome, honestly.
I feel good about it. I think it went good.